Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we have another request. This one is Mang Song's Lesson. Mang Song's Lesson is pretty rare, and also has quite a large number of variables on it, which I never really liked. Quite honestly, I never really felt like Mang Song's Lesson was deserved. I want to say deserved. Never really deserved having such high variables on it, considering the fact that it is exceedingly rare. And we will go over where you can try to find this item, but honestly, it has like next to no chance of dropping. So good luck. Those of you who are on a holy grail for this item, well, stay tuned, because I will go over all the probabilities on this at the end. So right off the bat, let's look at the damage. So it's 83 to 99 damage, which is obviously not very good. It is a Archon staff, which means it already is maximum out, so it's not going to get any better damage than it is right now. We do have a 34 strength requirement on this, which is just nothing, honestly. We have 82 level requirement on this, so it is very much an end game item above all else, and it is something that I think you need to consider when you think about even trying to use this item, is that you're not going to be able to use this item until the very end of the game. We also have a normal cat attack speed on this thing. It is actually relatively slow depending on your character. We have +5 to all skills. Now, this +5 to all skills is static, thankfully. Thank God. Because if it wasn't static, I mean, that would just be awful. I mean, a lot of these items, these unique items, were absolutely killed by their variables. And thankfully, this one does not have a variable on its plus to skills. We also have 30% faster cast rate, which honestly, in light of recent rune words and things like that, it's really not enough. If you compare this, for instance, to one of the newer rune words, which is Obsession. I don't have the real Obsession here, but I do have my fake Obsession that I created. It has 65% faster cast, along with +4 to all skills, 60% faster hit recovery, and so forth and so on. I actually kind of see the new Obsession rune word as sort of like the replacement Mang Song's Lesson, in that it offers you just about everything that you would need in a staff, and it does so with the same massive amount of plus to skills. However, the +5 to skills on Mang Song's Lesson is pretty amazing, because it really does combat against things like, for instance, +3 Hoto and +2 Spirit Shield, which is +5, right? So you can still get your +5, and, well, unfortunately, you don't get the rest. I was going to say have your cake and eat it too, but you don't get your cake. You don't get to eat it too, you just get to have your cake. You just get to look at it. It's a pretty cake. But you don't get to touch it. You're not allowed to cut it, can't touch it, can't put a forkful in your mouth. The 30% faster cast rate is nice, but unfortunately it's not enough to combat the what is it, 35% on Spirit, which is pretty massive, and you can stack 2 of those. So of course you can end up with 70% with 2 Spirits. Hodo, I believe, has 40% faster cast, if I remember correctly. So, you know, it's not enough. I feel like this might have been created around the time before Spirits, but like slightly after you know, Lord of Destruction, where they thought this would have been good, but then they didn't really balance it out properly with the rune words. It could use some touch-up. It is an ultra-rare item that is very ridiculously hard to come by, and it really just could use a little bit of extra help. We also have a 15% enemy lightning resistance, which varies from 7 to 15%. We have a 15% enemy cold resistance, which varies 15 to 7 to 15%, and we have a 15% enemy fire resistance, which varies 7 to 15%. So we've got lightning, fire, and cold negative resistance on this of 15% each, but they all vary. And I don't really know why they did this, because the staff is so ridiculously rare already that when you do finally find one, like finding a terrible one that has like 7% negative resistance, it's just a smack in the face. And don't get me wrong, negative resistance is extremely effective, and I have no doubt this staff would be extremely effective in the right hands, but it's not effective enough to overcome the lack of casting speed, the lack of faster hit recovery, the lack of any real other amazing effects on the staff. I mean, it seems to be very specifically, as you pointed out, a sorceress. Although you could potentially use this on a on a fire skills druid, maybe like a fire elemental druid, or maybe a fire claw druid or something. I don't know. Could be kind of funny. I mean, it would work. It also has regenerate mana 10%, which is not really a lot, considering that it's a level 82 item. And then we also have 50% damage to undead. This item also was ladder only back in the day, and it just really kind of strikes me as a very odd item. I don't understand what the developers were thinking when they created this item. I mean, at the time that they created this item, there were, at the very least, better items than this one. There was negative enemy lightning resistance, there was negative enemy fire, and negative enemy cold resistance that you could obtain from other sources. You know, it just... And not only that, but negative enemy cold resistance is terrible. Because the mastery works by reducing enemies' cold resistance, the negative enemy cold resistance on the staff is worthless. It should have been plus cold skill damage instead, because they flipped it around. Obviously, the fire mastery and the lightning mastery are the plus skill damage, and so having enemy lightning resistance on this is very nice, but having negative cold resistance on it is not nice. And I feel like it was just a miss. It was an extremely big miss in the Diablo community. They failed to account for the fact that people would rather use a sword and a shield, or a wand and a shield, or a scepter and a shield, or an orb and a shield, or whatever it may be. But the sword and shield combo, the sword and board combo, was definitely a very superior choice. And then on top of that, even if you did want to use the Mang Song's lesson, it was so incredibly rare, and the variables were so incredibly bad that you could often find one in such a poor state that it wouldn't even be worth using anyway. If I found a 7% enemy lightning resistance Mang Song's lesson, and I was actually kind of excited to try it out on my lightning sorceress, I'd be kind of disheartened by the fact that it spawned with 7% enemy lightning resistance. All in all, if they wanted to fix this item, I feel like what they would have to do is they would have to bump up the faster cast rate to be competitive with other items. It would need to be somewhere at least close to dual spirits, which is 70%. So they would have to bump it up to at least 60% faster cast. The negative enemy cold resistance really needs to be converted to plus cold skill damage. The variances on the enemy lightning resistance need to be taken away. It's too rare of an item to find in a crappy condition. And I really mean this, because I've literally seen other YouTubers do holy grails on Mang Song's lesson and literally hunt for it for months and months and never find the thing. And when they finally do, it spawns with terrible numbers on the lightning resistance and the fire and the cold resistance, which is just awful. The regenerate mana also needs to be bumped up, in my opinion. It's just not enough. The regenerate mana is so low at 10%, it's almost laughable. At level 82, you need a lot more than 10% regenerate mana. You're burning skills that cost, you know, as much as 46 mana apiece, and 10% is just a laughably low number. All in all, I feel like Mang Song's lesson was one of those staffs that maybe they put together and they originally thought it was going to be so broken OP and people were going to love it and they were going to be hunting for it specifically and make entire builds around it. But what ended up happening was it wasn't good enough to overcome the sword and board. And it was too rare to find in good condition, so most people just wouldn't bother. If you do ever actually happen to find a Mang Song's lesson and it's in good condition, it might be fun to make a character around, but I don't feel like it's ever going to be best in slot. Let's see where we can find this, shall we? So this is going to be an interesting one because I don't feel like we're going to have very many choices here on where this could potentially be found. I feel like we're going to look at this list and it's just going to be an absolutely terrible list of nothingness. So Mang Song's lesson. And I'm going to be conservative here. I'm not conservative. I'm going to be kind of outlandish here. So normally I would say 150 magic find because most people when they're searching for things they're relatively low and they don't have their characters built right. But I'm going to say we're a 500% magic finder that is really working hard at this. And we've got we're even trying to find this in players 8. So we are doing the absolute heckin' best that we can to try and locate this particular item. And it looks like here we have Frozenstein in Hell. Frozen River has a 58,280 chance. Pindleskin has a 58,280 chance. Snapchip Chatter has a 58,280 chance. We're looking at some really terrible numbers here. Neelathak in Hell and Halls of Vaught has a 225,875 chance. Absolutely awful. And Akmel the Cursed, Bartek the Bloody, Kalenzo the Annihilator, List the Tormentor, and Ventar the Unholy all have really terrible chances. If we go to the bosses, you notice our boss list is really tiny. It's literally just Bale and Neelathak, and we already talked about Neelathak. So if you kill Bale over and over again in Worldstone Chamber, you have a 1 in 34,659 chance to get this item. Just an absolutely tiny subset of monsters and an absolutely horrible chance. And then we can go to regular monsters and we can hit find, and you notice there's no results. We can go to champions. Now champions might have a chance, or sorry, uniques. Uniques will have a chance. So the list of uniques is relatively long, but basically all this really comes down to is you need to be in a level 85 zone. So Worldstone Keep, Underground Passage level 2, Throne of Destruction, Chaos Sanctuary, Sewers level 2. It needs to be an elite from a relatively high level zone, because basically how it works is each monster in the game gets a bonus level if they're elite. So if they are a unique monster, they get a plus, I believe it's +2 levels over whatever their normal level is. So if you go to an 85 level zone, all monsters are level 85, and then elites are +2, which is 87. So it's only going to drop from the elites. It also drops from their minions, by the way. So the elites and their minions. Let's check champions real quick, too. And it looks like it will drop from champions as well. So you're looking for elites and champions in those zones. And like I said, it will also drop from minions of those same high-level monsters, but with very terrible percent chances. I mean, if you look here, we've got a 1 in 115,977 probability, which is just god-awful. And you start to understand why Mang Song's Lesson is so incredibly rare, just simply because it drops from next to nobody. And that's with 500% Magic Find and Players 8, by the way. If you were a like 150 Magic Find player who was playing in Players 1, by the way, your percent chance would go way down, and instead of that nice one on Bale, we've got 1 in 58,602 now. I think that's enough on Mang Song's Lesson. There's really not a lot much to talk about here, other than the fact that this is a unique item that I really feel like needs to be reworked. For level 82, I'm judging it really harshly. If this was a lower level item, I wouldn't judge it so harshly. And that's really all it comes down to, is this item at level 82 does not fulfill its purpose. If its purpose was to be an end game level item, which level 82 is, it fails at it. And it really needs to be reworked a little bit to make it a little bit better. It's very sad when an incredibly rare item like this, something that falls into your lap maybe once in a blue moon, and you find it and you think to yourself, wow, that's nice, but I'm never going to use it. Anyway, as always, I hope you will take my videos as a lesson. And you know I like to sing, so I don't know what to say about Mang. Have a good day, Mang. There you go. I'm dumb as a bag of bricks. I'm gonna tell you what. As always, thanks for watching, and keep watching.